Boxbreakers.live, episode 1, card centering. Hello, it is Rex Robin Hood from Boxbreakers.live. Today, I decided to take the time to basically put together a video to help folks save some time and some emotional energy when it comes to sending your precious cards into submission, whether it be PSA, BGS, SGC, or any other grading company. So recently I've decided, I decided to start using SGC because really it's the only one that anybody can afford right now. I've been subbing cards since probably, I don't know, November of 2020. And I really didn't know what I was doing initially. I would, take cards that look cool, where the corners look sharp, and send it off and get a 7. So of course that's frustrating. And anyways, I've learned a few tricks. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes today and really kind of focus on how to tell if your card is centered. From my experience, the centering seems to really be where that's the real gotcha, right? I honestly think centering is probably the most important aspect to grading. So as you can see here, if you don't leverage Cardboard Connection, I use this site for pretty much everything, but they do have a description, a very high level description of the grading process. We're not going to spend a lot of time here, but feel free to leverage Cardboard Connection for a lot of different resources. That is not my site. This is just a free advertisement for them. Okay, so a little history into my grading journey. So this is my very first submission to SGC, and this was a little over a year ago. Again, didn't really know what I was doing. I was pulling cards out of a pack and looking at them, making sure the corners were sharp, and seeing that there were no obvious flaws, throwing them in my card savers and shipping them off, right? So this was not bad for a first submission. As you can see, I've got a couple of, actually one gem mint and then one pristine, which that's for a first timer, that's awesome. And then a whole bunch of 8.5s, right? And then I think this one was a few months later. Again, not terrible, but we do see a 7.5 here. And I really don't know. I still to this day don't know why that got a 7.5. But really that, because of that grade, I no longer send in the thick cards, so I know those rookie patch autos are super sweet and they would look awesome in a slab, but it's really hard for whatever reason to get good grades on those thicker cards. So I tend to stick with the standard size cards. They just seem to get more consistently better grades, right? So anyways, here is my most recent submission. I actually got these grades back last week. So we've got 13 cards, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 gem mints. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 5s, and then the rest are 9s. And all of these cards were submitted with me being very strict on the centering. So yeah, unfortunately my 9 is a Herbert Prism Black Silver, but I was really hoping that would get a 10 gem mint. But anyways, let me kind of walk you through what I've been using, and maybe it'll help you. Okay, so I picked up this card grading centering tool set from Amazon. It's 13 bucks, and it's basically this clear overlay that you place on top of your cards to help you identify the centering. And it also kind of comes with the centering percentages to help you come up with what you think the score might be. Whereas ideally obviously we're looking for the 50/50s. You can't see that on the screen. The 50/50s would be the 10s, right? If you're doing the subgrades, whereas all of the 60/40 stuff would probably be your 9/5s. Okay, but anyways, let's jump into actually showing you how this works. Okay, so we're going to start with everybody's favorite subject, Justin Herbert. So what I like to do when, so all you do is you take this this grading overlay, put it on top of your card, and try to center it as best as you can. Okay, and when looking at the centering, I like to start with the top and bottom, making sure the top and bottom are centered, because oftentimes that's overlooked. A lot of people look at their cards and really look at the left and right border, or at least that's from visibility standpoint, those are the easiest to identify, and you kind of forget about top and bottom, right? So that being said, I like to look at top and bottom first. All right, so the way that this grading sheet works is the solid lines identify odd numbers, and then the dotted lines are even, right? So we can go 1, 2, 3. So we see 3 is right there bordering the border or the frame of the Herbert photo, right? Oh, actually, we're looking at left and right. I said we'd start top and bottom. So again, 3. Right, so 3 is the very top of Los Angeles Chargers, right, of the text. So that is the topmost thing on the card that you can measure by, right? And the 3 is bordering that. When we look down below, we got 1, 2, 3, and 3 is bordering the Chronicles, right? So the text right there. And we also see it ends at the S. And we see the 3 ends at the S here, and then comes down to perfectly align with the frame. Okay, so that all looks good. So fast forward here a little bit. Now, when we look at the left side again, the 3 bordering the frame, you see a closer view of the 3. It does look like it's right on the text, so maybe not perfect, but pretty darn near perfect as far as centering goes. So for those of you wondering what's the difference between like a 10 and a 10 pristine, you wouldn't see this little bit of text right here on the line. It would be right, it'd be perfectly aligned with it, right? So this is close. I think this would, just from the centering alone, get a 9/5 or potentially a 10. So let's move on to the next example. Okay, so the final example is contenders. I've got tons and tons of 2020 contenders. So the Rookie of the Year card, to me, I found a little challenging. So I just thought I would cover it here real quick. So now you get the whole view of the card. And from here, you can kind of see everything you need. Now that we've gone through the close-ups, simply just placing the overlay on the card and taking a glance, we can tell that this card also is not perfectly centered. It's not terrible, but if we, again, starting from top to bottom, we look at the text here, the Rookie of the Year. So that's going to be the uppermost thing that we can measure by. And it looks like that is at 2. And then down below, we've got the Panini Contenders logo, and that's being bordered by 3, right? So right away, we've got a 60/40. So on the border, so the right side is being bordered by 4, and the left side is by 5, right? So 4 and 5 is actually, I think we've got, if we take a look at this, 5 and 4 is a 56/44. So, if it's in bold here, that means it is 60/40 or better. I think that means that it's mint, right? So that kind of identifies that bordering that we just, or that centering that we just saw. You can assume maybe a 9, but if there's anything else going on with the card, it's going to easily drop into an 8/5 or an 8. All right, that wraps up our first episode of Box Breakers Live. Join me for our next episode. We'll try to get it out next week, where I will be putting together my next submission. So I will identify the cards I want to submit. We'll go through the process of making sure that they are in top-notch shape. And hope you found this helpful and learned something new and maybe save some money and don't submit some of those cards. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you.